There. Welcome to my new YouTube channel. Happy New Year, happy 2023. Let me introduce myself. My name is Hannah Woods. I live in Reno, Nevada, and I really like to sew. So I wanted to share some of that with you. And it's not just about sewing. I have a great passion for fiber arts in general. About 20 years ago, I started knitting, and when I say knitting, it was knitting with a capital K. In fact, I had quite a yarn stash, and I still kind of do because I do still knit. In the evenings in front of the TV, that kind of thing. Then I learned how to spin because making your own yarn, yeah. And then I learned how to weave. And that kind of led to sewing actually in 2020. After making my own fabric, I wanted to do something with it. So that definitely led me down the rabbit trail of sewing, learning to sew my own clothes, learning to quilt. I've done some bags, some purses, and haven't quite done stuffed animals yet, but I'm sure that's down the road somewhere. Anyway, this last year has been a crazy productive year. I've made a lot of stuff, not just clothes. There's been a few quilts in there. There's been a lot of stuff for my husband and my sons. I learned how to do men's shirts and ties this year, and that was really fun. Made quite a few of those for Christmas. But I kept a journal of that. That's one of those things that at the end of last year, I saw on Instagram a post about a lady who wanted to feel a lot more productive at the end of the year. So she actually started keeping a journal of what she made. And as I look through this from the year, it's interesting what I've done and what I've moved on to. And some of the months that I had a lot that I did. So like for instance, February was pretty intense. I got a lot done. March too. Starting in April through about June, not so much because I was doing a lot outside in the garden and everything. That's another thing that I do enjoy doing is gardening. So during the nice months around here, which is really only about May through September, October-ish, is our growing season. So sometimes that does take some time from sewing. But then I noticed around September and October and November, I started really hitting it out. I was working on a capsule for myself for fall and winter, and so a lot of those are on there. And then of course December was full of Christmas gifts, and that actually took up almost 2 pages. So just really a busy year this year, doing a lot of sewing. Coming up in 2023 though, I really want to focus more on some new techniques. I really want to learn how to do corsets. That's one of my main goals this year, is to learn how to make a corset, make a bustier, use that boning, and really start working on those shaped, really fitted bodices for couture level dresses. That's kind of my goal, is to do a lot more of those, possibly even custom work. We'll see. Anyway, going forward on that, another one thing that I want to work on this year is also jeans. I started with the Closet Core Ginger jeans earlier this year, and even though I watched all their I took their course, did the fitting and everything, and they still did not fit me very well, and I had to make a lot of adjustments. And I've noticed that with a couple other Closet Core patterns, they just don't fit me super great. However, I found Itch to Stitch. Her patterns fit me so well. I only have to make a couple of adjustments, and that's mostly in length. So jeans, I am going to be working on her jeans because I think that I only have to make some adjustments in the rise, namely about 1/2 inch in the front and 1 inch in the back, and maybe a little bit of length in the leg. We'll see. So really looking forward to that, and you'll hear about it on here. This channel. I'm going to be hitting the sewing pretty hard. There'll be some knitting, some spinning in there, maybe some weaving, but definitely on the sewing. I'm going to take you on my journey along with me, so I hope you enjoy that. Some of my favorite pattern companies. Well, let me go into my style first. So my style, I have kind of narrowed it down to be classic chic with a touch of vintage thrown in. I really like the collared shirts with nice straight slacks for the most part. And then I also have for Sunday and nice wear, I really like a fitted bodice top dress with a very swooshy full skirt, cinched in at the waist with a belt. So you'll be probably seeing quite a few of that. All right, so some of my favorite pattern companies are Cashmerette, And in fact, I am wearing a Vernon shirt right now. And this is probably one of my hands down favorite patterns ever, tried and true. I have 6 of these already, and plus a couple more coming down the line. I have one already set up for cutting out in a lovely white and pink striped cotton. Very basic, but goes along with my my style aesthetic, which of course I've talked about, with the classic chic is very, the collared button-up shirt with straight slacks for the most part, and then the fit and flare dresses that are more vintage looking and everything. So right now I'm also working on a Cashmerette Chilton trench coat in a lovely gray Milton wool with a orange silk lining. So I'm really excited, hopefully, to get that finished up by the time this video hits. So just in time for New Year's, the final one on my 2022 list. And then Love Notions is another one of the patterns that I really, really like. I've got quite a few of theirs, a lot of their tops, have a few of the Rhapsody tops, I've made some changes to it. And then Itch to Stitch also, and I've talked about why I really like them. Don't have to make a whole lot of changes. I've made 3 of her patterns now, and the only changes I've had to make has been in the length. I am tall. I am 5'8", so I am not the 5'6" to 5'5" that a lot of pattern companies draft for. So, and I am also very long in my torso. So from my armpit down to my waist is 2 to 3 inches longer than most ready-to-wear clothes, as well as a lot of patterns. So always have to add some length there. For the most part, though, the bottoms don't really have to do a whole lot with. A little bit of change in rise in pants, but skirts are fairly easy. Not a lot of change there. But I am a lot bigger up top than I am on the bottom. So that is also making for some challenging fit issues. I do want to shout out to a couple of my favorite YouTube personalities that I've been watching for a little while, and that was Whitney at Tomcat Stitchery. She similar aesthetic to mine as far as the style goes. I really like everything she talks about as far as style and color and patterns, how to recreate the look. That's been really an inspiration. I'm looking forward to following along with her on her Parker Ponte Pants sew along coming up in January. And also I watch Sian at Kittenish Behavior. She's in Great Britain. I believe she lives on the Isle of Wight. But she makes these fabulous dresses and wears them. Very much that fitted bodice with the very big swooshy skirt, cinched in at the waist with a belt. And that is very much what I like to do. And she has talked about several patterns that I am really looking forward to trying this year. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, she talked about this one, the Vogue 8489, and I'm really looking forward to trying this one. I really like the detail around the going down through the neckline and around to the back of the waist, and the gathering there. I can always make the skirt a little bit fuller if I want to, a little bit longer or shorter. The other one that I'm doing is this one. And yes, there is a fuller skirt in there, but I think I'm actually going to start with the more of the sheath style, just for more of that slimline look and everything. And I just realized that I can use a stretch on this. That'll make things nice because I actually have a lot of knits set up. And then one more Vogue one, 9345, and Sian at Kittenish Behavior has done a whole capsule off of this one, and it's just insane how many pieces she got out of this pattern alone. She's made the skirt much longer and fuller, and she's also put cuffs on the sleeves, which just make them that fabulous statement sleeve. Another one of my favorite designers is Gertie from Charm Patterns, and I also picked up this Butterick one, 6380, which is actually pretty old. I want to say it's from 2016, but they haven't, they only printed it the once, so it's kind of hard to find right now. But I really like the neck detailing and the pulls cinches, the thing pulls it away from your chest there a little. So a few of the things that I want to do this year are actually, so Love Notion, I talked about my favorite pattern companies. Love Notion is one of those. And I have this lovely batik printed cotton jersey from a place called So Batik. And they make some lovely fabrics. But I'm going to be making the Olympia dress from Love Notions out of this. And Tomcat Stitchery, she had actually just posted all of this, that she had done this in this exact fabric, in this exact colorway, like 2 weeks after I got this fabric and decided I was going to make the Olympia. So I promise I'm not copying you. It's just the way it worked out. And then the Parker Ponte Pants are going to be in this lovely medium blue Ponte, and they just it seems to have some amazing recovery. Really perfect for what you want to do for pants and everything. I'm going to be doing the sew along with Tomcat Stitchery. And then Love Notions, Tessa sheath dress. I'm going to be making one out of this lovely Ponte that is polka dot. So I've not really worn polka dots before, so we'll see how it turns out. I'm looking forward to seeing. So anyway, that's what I'm going to start with in January in 2023 this year. So I hope you have a fabulous new year and a great start to 2023. So right now I'm going to take you over to my cutting board and show you how I use scraps to make bias binding. I like having my own bias binding on hand, lots of different weights of fabric and different patterns and stuff like that, and it uses up the scraps so you're not wasting it. So we'll head over there and we'll see you later. Bye. Okay, so here we are over at my cutting table, and I like to use up the scraps and make bias tape. Now, the ones I've been doing recently, I actually have not been folding up and ironing, mainly because I've noticed that there's a few times I needed actually a smaller size, more narrow, or folded slightly different. So I've just been sewing them together. So there's continuous strip, and then putting them on a board. Now these boards are actually from the inside of the by the yard fabric that you get at Walmart. You know, the yard is wrapped around these boards, and they're very handy for wrapping bias tape around. And you see, I've got quite a few different varieties here. This is actually a knit fabric, and this is silk. I actually haven't sewn this one together. But some of the other ones, like the just the beige, I've already folded and ironed. You know, same with the blue, because that's just something you use pretty regularly anyway. So let's go ahead and start working. And I've got a whole lot of these that I've saved up. You know, and some of these scraps are silk, and some are cotton. One of them is actually like a satin that I'm going to do, because you want all sorts of different weights for different things that you're doing. So I actually have quite a bit of this fabric left, and I know there was, yeah, there it is. So I had some of it already kind of cut on the bias. So I'm just going to keep working on that guy. And I cut them 2 inches, because again, you can always cut them down if you need to. So then what I'll do is I'll cut like 2 or 3, 3 or 4 strips like this, sew them together on the angle so that they continue that bias and everything. And when you fold them together, the seams don't get all bunched up in one spot. And then I'll iron them flat, usually opening up those seams and everything so that you have less bulk, and then wrapping them on the little thing.